And so if you are 8 years or more away from claiming Social Security yourself, then maybe you need to consider what the impacts of this will be.
Peter, so good to see you and welcome back to everyone. I'm sure we've all been reading the same scary headlines. Social Security will be cut, those benefits. So we're going to talk through how much more we will need to save. The Social Security Trust Fund will be insolvent by 2033, and by 2035, we'll have to reduce benefits by 23%. So we're going to break down, you and me, Peter, how much we all need to make to kind of cover that potential shortfall. According to a recent study from the National Institute for Retirement Security, just 31% of Gen Xers and 52% of boomers were very or somewhat confident that they would have the same benefits as previous generations. Should we really be worried?
Well, I think it makes sense that the generations further down the line, Gen X, are less confident than the baby boomer generation. I don't think they're going to sweep the rug out from underneath the feet of people who are already reliant on or right on the doorstep of being reliant on Social Security. I mean, we've talked before, Erin, there's 40% of the American public that is their only source of income. And seniors are the most loyal and consistent voting bloc. And the Congress folks' number one priority is to get reelected. So again, sweeping the rug out from underneath their feet would probably not accomplish the number one goal of being reelected. And so I don't think that those that are already collecting really need to worry. I'm hopeful of that. Now, I think that this is now about 8 years away. And so if you are 8 years or more away from claiming Social Security yourself, then maybe you need to consider what the impacts of this will be. There are a few different potential ways that this could be addressed. They have changed full retirement age before. They have made Social Security benefits themselves taxable. And there is a cap on how much you earn that actually contributes and is attributable to Social Security. And if you earn more than, it's about $170,000, 168, then you stop paying into Social Security. So somebody making $168,000 pays into Social Security on 100% of their income, whereas somebody making $16 million pays in on like 1%. And so at some point in time, I think that probably does get addressed as well. But the shorter amount of time we have to think of solutions, the more creative and more painful they're going to have to be.
And so we do want to make sure we are being very clear about one thing. Social Security is not going bankrupt and will not stop paying benefits. However, PensionBee crunched the numbers and concluded that workers would need to save an additional $138,000 to generate the same income based on the 4% withdrawal rule. So the older you are, the more money you will need to put away. So those age 55 only have a 12-year window to save.
Right. And so they're going to need to save more per month, the shorter amount of time that we have to get to that 138,000. And the reason they said 138,000 using that 4% rule is that is assuming like a $24,000 a year benefit from Social Security. And if you reduce that by 23%, well, that is the equivalent of 4% of that $138,000. So that lump sum amount ballpark represents the reduction that would be there. And you know, there have been some things that have been discussed that Social Security is going bankrupt. I'm glad you addressed that, Erin, because that's not the case. But the trust fund will run out. And so at that point, when there's no trust fund there, it is a pay as we go system. And the amount of tax revenue collected is only substantial enough to pay about 77% of the promised benefits. Had that trust fund been invested with investment rates of return, that's another potential solution, but it wasn't. There were some rules on how much it could earn and what it could be invested in. And then the trust fund got rated altogether. So all bets are off at that point in time. Like, there's so many problems here. But again, just like it's been over the last, I'd say 2-3 generations, the onus of planning for retirement is more and more on each of our own individual shoulders. Social Security, that was, incepted in 1935 to prevent senior poverty. But since that time, we've really eroded kind of the stability that this social safety net was intended to provide. Companies aren't offering pensions. Now it's the 401ks. And now we need to save even more in the 401ks because Social Security is in jeopardy. So more and more, the burden of retirement needs to be on each of us individually to do as much as we can.
Right. Okay. So we have that magic number of $138,000 that we need to make up. And you have some suggestions on how to get there, starting with, of course, maxing out your retirement contributions and using those catch-up contributions.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are not maxing out their retirement contributions. The company might be nice enough to offer us a 4% match, and then we're only contributing enough to capture the match. Look, this is a little bit of an additional incentive to do what you need to do to be serious about a confident financial future, but only capturing the match is not sufficient to achieve a confident financial future. The benchmark that we strive for with our clients, and it's something that Dave Ramsey has talked about and many other financial gurus, is that we should be trying to save 15% of every dollar that we make to pay our future selves, to max out our opportunities for that enjoyable retirement. So 15% all the way up to maxing out your 401k. And yeah, Erin, don't forget those catch-up contributions. Starting at age 50, we've got another $7,500 that we could contribute. So, a lot of people are not only maxing out the regular contributions, they're not remembering those catch-up contributions. We need to make sure that we are capturing that match. Like, if you're not doing at least that, you're really missing out. Because I hear the term free money. It is not free money. Like, that is money that you're working to earn that you're just not getting if you don't put the money in to capture the match. And then diversifying the portfolio. There might be other options. You can do a 401k and an IRA or a Roth IRA simultaneously. So just because you've maxed out your 401k does not mean you've hit the end limit of your retirement savings options. You can always do non-qualified, non-retirement investment accounts. So diversifying savings, diversifying your investments, these are ways to save more. There's always a way to get some extra in there. We've just got to be disciplined enough to do it and to live off of a little bit less than we make.
Mm-hmm. And, maybe more important than the changes that will inevitably come to Social Security would be, when do you claim Social Security? Which is, again, I know something that you specialize in, Peter. So just reminding people that they should meet with an advisor who can help them figure out when to claim, but also to design multiple other sustainable streams of income in retirement so that you're not just relying on Social Security.
Yeah, and there are ways to position assets to give you a supplement to Social Security. A guaranteed lifetime stream of income, like the pensions used to offer, may be a very valuable thing, especially if we're losing a little bit of our Social Security. And you can set those up early to have some guaranteed growth along the way. But what we don't want to do is make a knee-jerk reaction, an emotional decision on Social Security saying, oh, I hear it's going broke soon, which again is not the case. But that means I need to go out and claim it as soon as possible. Well, if you claim Social Security earlier than full retirement age, you do reduce your benefit permanently. And then these changes, if they happen, are going to happen across the board. Just because your benefit has already been reduced by the decision you made doesn't mean that they're not going to come along and say, well, we've got to reduce them further. So what we don't want is to have a reduction on an already reduced benefit. That would mean that we would need to have saved even more money to make up the shortfall. So again, just, think these things through. We are here to help people optimize their financial future, optimize their plan, to think these decisions through and really fit them into what is best for your financial future. And, we could look at Social Security and say, how much do we want to include the potential for reduction into your plan? What impact does that make? And a lot of people, we talk that decision alone. Do we want to include this? Do we not? How much does this really worry us? What is the impact going to be as we design the plan? That's been, a big subject of conversation in our office, Erin, for the last 10, 15 years. They've been putting this on the statements as long as I can remember, by the way. It's been in bold on the front cover and again on the inside. This is not new news. This is just news that they have chosen not to address for a very long time. And now we're getting closer to crunch time. And again, our options are getting a little bit more painful and impending here. So we need to take this seriously as individuals.
Right. And as I've said before, I feel very strongly changes are inevitable. You mentioned, taxes, of course, increasing the payroll tax, et cetera, et cetera. Start planning now. So if somebody, Peter, wants to talk about claiming strategies or how they can make up that shortfall with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Give me a call at Richon Planning. We do put together the optimized retirement plan, and income is the first pillar of financial stability and your foundation. Income, investments, taxes, healthcare, legacy, those should be addressed in everybody's plan. We believe strongly about that. And that's why we put together that optimized retirement plan, Social Security included as part of income, obviously. But give us a call. That's no cost, no obligation. It's a courtesy service that we offer. 919-300-5886 is the number to reach Richon Planning, and you'll talk directly personally to me. Love to talk to people that have questions and help in any way that I can. So give me a call, 919-300-5886. You can also go online. Our website is richonplanning.com. It looks like Rich on Planning. It's my last name, Richon, richonplanning.com. Email me, Peter@Richon Planning. And if you love the podcast, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all of those good things. This information is important for everyone because Social Security is something that everyone is entitled to. And we need to make sure that everyone is also aware of these potential changes.
Absolutely. Peter, thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Hey folks, Peter Richon here with Richon Planning. So glad that you are enjoying the podcast, Planning Matters Radio. One of the tools that we've put out there that people really seem to appreciate and really are finding of value is at 919retired.com. It is your retirement tax bill calculator. If you've got any kind of retirement account, your tax deferred, 401k or IRA, this is the website, this is the resource where you can go, you can plug in your own numbers, your information, you can slide the tool calculator up and down for your tax rate or your amount of savings and see what your tax bill is likely to be if you default and defer to the IRS's plan versus what you could potentially bring that tax bill down to. A lot of times it is a very significant savings. So if you have not yet, go to the website 919retired.com, run your numbers on the retirement tax bill calculator.
This has been Planning Matters Radio.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Peter Richon and Richon Planning are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.